to be followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm both glad and horrified that your flag is the only thing that we have.
Thank you. Have a great day.
I would take that as a compliment, as it is meant as one. But, you know. Good morning, friends. Okay, good morning, virtual friends. So, today we have some exciting things to be talking about. That is, we're going to talk about what's going to happen when we start playing in class on Monday. Yay. Not today. That's okay. We got to talk about a bunch of stuff first. But we are going to start playing in class on Monday. Virtual friends, I'll have a whole conversation with you at the end of this video about what you should do, but I'll save all that for the end. So if virtual friends, if you want to skip past some of this stuff, maybe if I get real fancy, I'll put a time code in the video for you to skip to. We'll see how much time I get during Flex. But if you want to skip to the stuff where it applies to you, that's fine. If you're quarantined right now and watching this, you need to watch the part where I talk about how to move and get your stuff out and how that's all going to work, because you'll be back eventually, I hope. So, you know, you want to make sure you know what's going on. Anyway, we'll get going with all that stuff in a little bit. I'm going to go through just the basic announcements, and then we'll talk about all the specifics for instruments. Okay, so the main thing that we're going to talk about today is the playing procedures and all the things that we need to do in order to play. We'll get to that. We are going to, if we have time, do a clap and count through the two pieces that I passed out to you last class. That is Spy Chase and Lost at Mammoth Cave. That means we'll clap and count through it all together, just to get the rhythms in your brain. If you have not finished the Suggest a Piece assignment, you should do so today. Yes? Okay, then you will get the music that I have mentioned, and you will get a chance to do that assignment. For those of you who are virtual friends and physical friends, just to make sure, I know you have a lot of other classes and it can be hard to keep track of everything, especially since you don't have any plan books to write anything in right now. But to remind you what's due this week, if you have turned in the chunk test on Schoology, everybody needs to do one per week. And if you have done the Suggest a Piece assignment, also linked through on Schoology, then you're good for this week, okay? So if that's all you got to do, then just make sure you have it done. And that's your points for this week. That's all your participation stuff for this week. Playing, like I said, starts on Monday, so just make sure that you are prepared for that. And when I say prepared, I mean you need to follow all the things that are going to be here. These slides that we're going to talk through, I will send out to you this weekend so that you can be reminded of, oh yeah, I need this stuff. Because this is going to involve you having some things, especially for my brass playing friends. You're going to need some stuff with you in class in order to play, okay? Okay, before we get started on any of that, are there any questions from me? No? Yes? Did you not do a chunk test this week yet? Have already bled all the chunk tests together? Chunk tests? You did one last week. Yeah, we need to try to do one this week then. Maybe instead of doing the clap through, we'll go through and do another chunk test this week. You have to excuse me too. I've got 3 separate band classes, and it's really hard for me to remember who has done what and when. So, yes, everybody needs to have done a chunk test this week. So if that's still you guys who need to do that, we'll try to get that done today. And then you'll have time to get it done, you know. If you don't get it today, you'll have time to get it done next time. Yeah? Okay, good question, thank you. Oh, right, because today's Thursday. Right, and the people who I talked to yesterday have only had one band class. Oh God, okay, whatever. So confusing. My brain is on fire. Let's go. Let's learn about how we're going to play our instruments. Okay, so you are going to need to have some things in order to play. And those things are different depending on what kind of instrument you play. I'll start with brass just because it's at the top here. If you are a brass player, you're going to need to bring with you an absorbent pad of some kind every day to every class, and it needs to be disposable. Why? For your spit valve. You are going to drop your spit into a puppy pad, essentially, and you will need to throw it away at the end of every class. I ain't touching it, neither is anybody else, right? So, well, okay, what does that mean exactly? It doesn't need to be anything fancy. If you have a roll of paper towels that you keep in your locker for whatever reason, and you tear one of those off every class and fold it up and bring it with you to put your spit in from your spit valve, and then you throw it away at the end of class, great. If you want to go out and buy actual puppy pads and cut them up, that's fine, go for it. But whatever, it just needs to be something that the spit can go into, get absorbed, and then you throw it away at the end of every class. Strongly suggest something paper-based. Don't bring something plastic because the water is just going to sit on top of it. It needs to be something that is absorbent, hence the absorbent part of the disposable absorbent pad. Did you actually have a question, Ian? Okay, very good. So, brass players, I'm not going to supply that. You need to have that with you every day in class. Yes?
Where's the paper towel supposed to go?
In the trash can.
No, like after, while you're talking.
On the floor.
I'm confused.
So you set yourself a little pad off to the floor, and when you blow your spit valve out, you blow it into that pad. See what I'm saying? You know your spit valve, yeah? You're on board with the spit valve? Okay, when you open the spit valve on your instrument, and usually you just blow it out into the floor, now you blow it out onto that absorbent pad. Got it? The idea is I don't want the water from your instrument, that's really not spit, it's really condensation, but still it came from your breath, so, it is potentially carrying virus, and I don't want that just like blown onto the floor. It needs to go onto this little thing that you then throw away at the end of every class. Yeah? Good talk. Okay. Yes? My particular ridiculous and idiotic conspiracy theory is that the band floor actually holds the cure. This is my opinion. Amongst everything else that's on that floor, yes. Okay, brass players, you also need to have one mask for use on your face when you are not playing. Do not just pull it down over your neck. I actually want you to take the mask off and set it off to the side. And then when you're not playing, you need to put the mask back on. Why not just pull it down? Well, 1,000 reasons. And I'm not going to get into all of that, but basically, take the mask off, put it back on fully every time you switch from playing to not playing. Now, if it's just I'm just resting for 2 minutes or 2 measures or something, don't be ridiculous. You don't need to mask up and then, put the instrument back on. If you're going to be not playing for a little bit, put your mask on, okay? You need to have your instrument in a mouthpiece. This is pretty simple. No sharing of any instruments of any kind, including mouthpieces, for reasons that should be abundantly clear. So your instrument is your instrument, your mouthpiece is your mouthpiece. Now, if it's a school instrument, that's fine. It still is your instrument for the purposes of all this stuff, okay? Yes, Ian?
Didn't you say we're getting those masks with the mouthpiece goes in?
Yes, I did say that. The school, in its infinite wisdom, had decided not to get those for us. So we are not going to be able to have those. My response to that is we're just gonna space out even more in the classes, which we can do in here, because, there's only, 20 of us right now. All those empty seats, we can disperse you guys out. Like, I can put like 16 feet in between every kid in this class especially. So that's probably what we're gonna do. I don't wanna get into the reasons behind all that. I'm just gonna make myself angry again. So this is what we're gonna do instead. We'll space ourselves out, and it's not ideal again, but it will at least keep everybody safe. So, you need to make sure you have your music, and if oil or any other sort of accessories or accoutrement that you need to go with it. Do not share anything. So if you're that brass player who has been bumming valve oil off somebody else since you started playing, it's time for you to order your own bottle of valve oil. Don't ask me, because I won't give you any. Don't ask somebody else. Get your own bottle of valve oil, okay? And don't complain about it. Woodwinds have to buy their own reeds, and they haven't been sad about that for a long time, okay? So please, be prepared for your own stuff entirely. Brass players, do you have any questions about those things? Okay, cool. Next, woodwinds, you have a slightly easier time of this. One mask for use on your face when you're not playing, and you need to make sure you have your music and all this stuff that's not shared. Specifically, reeds. Clarinet and saxophone players, you have to have your own reeds. No, you cannot borrow anyone's reed. No, I will not give you a reed. You need to have your own reeds at all times. Buy a box, buy 2 boxes. If you buy Rico boxes, just remember that 4 of them are gonna be garbage anyway, right? 4 of them instantly into the trash. If you're a brass player and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, again, count yourself lucky. Woodwinds have to deal with crap that you don't have to. So, get yourself a reed. I would make a suggestion. If you, especially right now, they do make plastic reeds that are for saxophone and clarinet. There's a company called Leger that makes them. They're kind of expensive until you realize that they never go bad. You could just buy one reed that costs you $30 and then never buy reeds again. The only reason why I bring that up in this particular case, maybe don't do that right now when I'm trying to talk, thank you, is you can clean that reed, right? It's plastic, so you can, disinfect that reed and whatever, and just keep reusing it over and over and over and over again. That might help you keep things cleaner, especially if you're the responsible kind of woodwind player who takes the reed off of their mouthpiece every day the way you should. If you're the kind of irresponsible woodwind player who never takes the reed off their mouthpiece, first off, you're a monster. Second off, you're just gonna not get COVID, but you're gonna get some other sort of exciting new disease that's gonna get named after you. You know what the bottom of your reed looks like once it's been pressed up against your mouthpiece for a couple of weeks. You know, I know. Don't put that in your mouth, okay? Good God, take it off and clean it. If it's a wood mouthpiece, a cane mouthpiece, you can clean those a little bit. If it's a plastic one, you can clean those things like crazy. Yeah? Now, it's not a requirement. You don't have to. I'm just saying that it could be a way to actually, in the long run, save a little bit of money. You pay a little bit more up front to have that same reed that just always works, and then you don't have to worry about, oh crap, I don't have any reeds today. Right? Right. Woodwinds, any specific questions about this? Flutes, you get the best of both worlds. You just show up with a flute, and then you flute, and then it's done. I will say, especially if you're not in the habit of swabbing, especially clarinets, time to get in the habit of swabbing your clarinet, okay? If you don't have a clarinet swab, get one. Flutes, if you have, the cleaning rod and all that stuff, I do suggest you using it. If you don't have one, maybe consider it. They're not that expensive, and it can just be an extra way to keep your instrument clean. Remember, bacteria especially like to live in dark, warm, wet places. Like, an instrument, after you got done playing it, that's going back into its dark, warm, lined case to go live in the warm instrument storage room for a week. Mmm, delicious. So please, keep your instrument clean. Yes.
I'm kind of scared to see like type of people who do leave their rings in their mouthpiece. What it's gonna look like because of like they have to play all summer.
Oh, child,
Kind of scared.
I've seen things. I've seen things. Percussionists, what you do is you hit things with sticks. So this is good because as long as you have your own sticks with which to hit things, you know, done. So I am going to next week have a really simple few percussion instruments set up in here. You cannot touch them except with your sticks because you hit them with sticks, right? This should be pretty self-explanatory. I will take care of cleaning them in between uses. You don't need to do that, but I also don't want you laying all over my crap, okay? A marimba is not a table, it's a marimba. A snare drum is not something you lean on, okay? It's something you hit with a stick. So, as long as you understand that, things will be fine. And hopefully at this point you understand that that's just how this works. I know you're new. You'll just have to learn the right way from the beginning. So, percussionists, you need to have a pair of drumsticks and a pair of yarn mallets that are yours with you at all times. That way you can move from instrument to instrument without any problem. If we need to play bass drum or something, right now I'm not going to bring a bass drum in here for a million reasons, but if you need to play an instrument that has a special stick, I will provide you the stick for it, and then I will take it back and clean it in between use. But early on, we're not even going to do that. You're basically going to be playing a keyboard instrument and a snare drum, and that's it. Okay? You guys definitely need to have at least a practice pad at home. I know you said something about your dad wanting to get a drum set. Great. I know you said you have a drum set. Great. That's fine. There's no requirement for that. But if you already have that for your own fun, then wonderful. But you definitely need to have something to practice on at home. If you want a bell kit, by the way, to have at home, ask me, and I've got like a dozen crappy old bell kits that you can just take home with you and bring back or something. Okay? But we can figure that out as we go. Yes?
Wait, so on the warranty is gonna put our instruments in here?
Haven't got there yet. Thing at a time. So, are there any questions about the things that you need to bring? Yes?
Did the faculty also shoot down the bell mask?
Yes, but also kind of no. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, let's talk about the instrument storage room. So, the instrument storage room is not going to be changed exactly, but how we get into it and what we keep in there is going to be modified. When you get here in the morning, if you have your instrument with you, I would like you to keep your instrument or take your instrument straight to the instrument storage room, okay? So if you show up to band or you show up early in the morning and you've got your instrument with you and you don't want to bring it to the cafeteria or the gym, which is fine, then you need to put it into the instrument storage room as soon as you get here, and then you come straight back out. You're not hanging out in there, you're not staying in the band room, you're dropping your instrument off and you're going. You cannot have any more than 2 people at a time in the instrument storage room, no exceptions. There's only 2 people in there, and that's it. If there's somebody else in the instrument storage room, don't wait like right up next to the door. Back out, leave them room so that when they leave the instrument storage room, they don't have to be met with the old stinky face, right? So that all makes sense. Okay. During band class, I will dismiss you by instrument to go and get your instrument whenever we're done, like when it's time to go get them. So I'll probably do announcements and a basic talk through of things. We might even do some clapping and counting first, and then I'll say, okay, cool, flutes, go get your instruments. Flutes, you would stand up and go that way, right, to go get your instruments. Again, no more than 2 people in the instrument storage room at a time. And if you're waiting, just wait back in the band room, like further back. Then I'll let the clarinets and saxophones and everybody else go to get their stuff. Okay? It's going to take a long time for us to get all of our instruments out. When you come back in here, do not play. Okay? Don't play yet. Because we're going to only play inside of a half-hour window, which means that I don't want people playing early because then you're kind of eating into our total rehearsal time. So please, 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 when you go to get your instrument, resist the temptation to come back here, sit down, and just like start wailing away on stuff. Trust me, I understand, but we need to use our time efficiently. Do not bring your case back in here. Your cases will always live in the instrument storage room at all times. So your instrument is brought out, your music is brought out, anything else that you need from the instrument storage room is brought back out here in the auditorium, but not your case. Don't bring your case. Okay? Then, when we're done, you can take all that stuff back and put it away inside of its case. That means that your case is never really going to leave its little cubby in the instrument storage room. It's just going to live there. Okay? Let's see. Oh, no music and no binders kept in the instrument storage room. You need to keep that stuff either in your personal locker or in your backpack or something. Don't keep it back there. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to get into it all, but just don't do it. I know there's like a little shelf back there for that stuff right now. That's going to go away. It's going to disappear. Do not keep any personal items in the storage room. Cheyenne Link, God love her, used to keep her entire life in the instrument storage room. That is no more. Christopher Stephenson insists on keeping a can of beans in the instrument storage room. They have been disposed of. I know. Do not keep your stuff in the instrument storage room. I will remove it and flamethrow it. Okay? I'll just go through there with a flamethrower once a week and just burninate the countryside. Am I joking? Maybe. Just don't. Okay? It's not where you need to keep jackets and shoes. It's not. We don't have a marching band right now. There's no reason for that. You don't need to keep other classes' books in there. Nah, it's not your locker. And it's not a locker room. It's an instrument storage room. And in this case, it's only going to be used for storing instruments, not music, nothing else. Now, percussionists, you don't ever need to go back there. Yay. So don't. Just make sure you have your music with you all the time. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yes.
Did you say there were beans in the instrument storage?
There used to be beans. Yes, you heard me correctly. You're new to the high school band, aren't you? Yeah, well. Look, things are different sometimes. Yes. What, you want to hold a ceremony? Yes. Domino's delivers. Remember the beans. I think they were disposed of a couple weeks before school started. I did not dispose of them. They were disposed of themselves. Yes. What? Try that again.
Where exactly is the room?
A good question. If you go into the high school band room, which is just across the hallway, you go all the way in to where you're almost at the opposite door, turn left. There will be a door that has a sign that says, no more than 2 people in the instrument storage room. That's the instrument storage room. You found it. And then back into the band room, right. You understand? Do we need to take a tour in a minute? Okay, we'll take a tour in a moment. That seems slightly unnecessary, but fine. We'll take a tour. Okay, are there any questions about any of this? Okay, just a personal aside. The shelves that are in the instrument storage room were constructed last year by Kenny Bagby as his Eagle Scout project. Please take care of them. There's already some issues that I'm going to try to be fixing with them soon because people have not been taking care of them. Don't be a jerk, okay? We're lucky to have something as nice as what those things are. They are not ladders. no matter how deep they may or may not be. They are instrument storage shelves. That's it. I will try to have little sections for the ones that don't have individual dividers. I'll try to mark out where each of them go, so each of your cases can have its own little area to live in. Yes?
I remember last year marching band, the guards got locked out of the room, so climbing over the shelves into the room. I'm not sure.
Dylan, I don't need to know everything. I appreciate your willingness, but I don't actually need to know some things. That's a fine example of something I don't really need to hear. Okay. Let's go to the second slide. So, as I had mentioned, the ensemble will not play for more than 30 minutes in a 90-minute block. Because of that, please do not play when you get here and get your instruments out. Percussionists, technically it doesn't matter if you do or don't, but let's just not, so that other people are not encouraged to start playing. So even if you're waiting for other people to go get their instrument and you're just sitting here, or you've already got your instrument and you're just sitting here, it's not time to just start tooting around, okay? You just need to wait. That way we can use our 30 minutes of playing time completely efficiently. Well, wait a second. Smith, why do we have to only play for 30 minutes? It has to do with the air replacement rate. We're going to be, putting stuff into the air for that 30-minute time. The air handlers in the room are definitely fast enough to get rid of all that stuff fairly quickly, but we want to have all of it gone and out of here without saturating the air with aerosols and droplets as well as possible. So in order to give the air handlers the maximum chance to do that, we're going to limit ourselves to playing for just 30 minutes, which is fine. We can get a lot done in 30 minutes if it's super efficient time, okay? If you think about how long we usually play in high school band, it's usually only about 30 minutes if you cut out all the dead space, right? That just means that as soon as we start playing, there's not going to be any dead space. Don't expect any big, long conversations from me while we have our instruments in our hands, right? That 30-minute time is going to try to be completely dedicated 100% to nothing but playing, right? Not clapping and counting, not anything else. I want music to be happening inside of that 30 minutes from wall to wall. So once we do start playing, you need to be ready for playing continuously. I want to try to use your time as efficiently and effectively as possible. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Students will not share any music or instruments at any time. That should be pretty self-explanatory. Percussion instruments will not be touched by students except by the sticks. The teacher will sanitize the instruments between uses. Yes. Music will be handed out only once. Once. Further copies can be found on Schoology or the band website. So if you done goof and you done lose your crap, that's a you problem, not a me problem, okay? All this stuff is going to be scanned and up on Schoology anyway for our virtual friends. You go and make yourself a copy. The library hypothetically has a copy machine that students are allowed to use. I don't know what the rules are about that right now. I don't know, but hypothetically you could use that. If you don't have a printer at home, I understand. I also don't have a printer at home. You just gotta have to figure something out, okay? So you get one physical Dead Tree copy from me of your music, and then if you lose that, it's on you to figure out how to replace it. Please, make sure that's true. Please follow the one-way paths when entering and leaving the auditorium. So when you go to get your instruments, you need to leave that door, and when you have your instruments in your hand, you come in that door. That's just to keep the traffic moving efficiently and so that we're not crossing paths as much as possible. Okay? Next, e-learning and virtual students. Virtual guidelines. This isn't for the students, this is just the guidelines. You need to have a plan in place in case you get quarantined or we go e-learning. As we just saw from Henryville, who decided to go e-learning, they called e-learning at like 3 o'clock yesterday, and then today they're e-learning. In that sort of a case, you need to have some sort of a plan for what you will do with and for your instrument in that case. Now, I'm not saying you need to bring your instrument home with you every day. That's sort of impractical. But you need to have like in the back of your mind okay, what do I need to bring home? Like, what do I need to bring home with me in case I get quarantined or e-learning hits tonight? What do I need to have with me tomorrow? I know that's a lot of forethought to be putting on to high school students, but you are smart high school students. You can do it if you just think about it and remember, hey, maybe I should bring my music home because tomorrow would be a band day and I need to make sure that I have my music in case I get quarantined, right? And then percussionists, make sure you own, like I said, a practice pad or something like that, a drum set or an instrument that can be used as a percussion instrument in the case that you get quarantined or e-learning or whatever. Yes?
Did you fix the URL problem in the submitting?
I sent you an email that has all that stuff, and then I fixed the text field as well.
Okay.
Yep, it's been repaired. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions that are pertinent or pertaining to what we have just discussed? Yes?
It's not related to the thing, but do you have a Band-Aid in here?
I can get you a Band-Aid when we go take our tour of the instrument storage room. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about this? Yes?
You said you were going to talk about the masks for the instruments.
Sure. So I do have some bell covers that were pre-given to us by Band Shop about a couple years ago. My sister used to work for Band Shop, and she sent me some demos of things that they were looking to make. I have them for large instruments, especially tuba, baritone, and I think I have a few trombone ones as well, which I will let you guys use. They are not gonna be super effective, okay? But I will give you one, and you can have it, and you can wash it, on your own. It will be about as effective as having a paper mask put over the bell of your instrument, which is to say, it would catch large droplets, but there's not usually a lot of large droplets that are gonna be coming out of your bell anyway, unless you're doing something really, really wrong. But it would prevent any droplets, and maybe it might catch a little bit of the aerosols, but it's mostly going to be just to keep the large stuff from flying out. The main safety precaution will be distance, okay? Trombone players, you've got all kinds of distance. Flute players, you've got plenty of distance. I'll probably end up putting another row in between everybody. So Devin, you probably will end up staying there, but I'll just move this row back a row, and that row back a row, and that row back a row, just to give even more space between everybody, and then it will be okay. All the research says that we need to have 8 feet in between, which is what you currently have. If I do that, then we're talking more like 12 or 16 feet, which is, in what other room are you this spaced out in the school building? None, 0. So if playing an instrument at a 16-foot distance is going to be endangering, you being up in a classroom with 3 feet between you is also endangering. And if the school didn't like that, then the school should have bought masks. So there you go, there's that. I'm not gonna say anything more about it because I'll just get super salty. Okay, questions? By God, we need to play, okay? I miss playing, I miss making music with you friends, and I'm sure you do too, because otherwise, why would you be in this class, right? Why would you take this class if you didn't want to make the noises with your faces? Yes, okay, sure, for the meme content, sure, but, band is more than memes, I hope, I think, yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to start playing either, because I spent like $165 on a mouthpiece. I still haven't been able.
Well, there you go. Now you'll get a chance to use it. So, if you have not played your instrument since March, I'm not judging you. This is not a personal attack. If you haven't played your instrument since March, maybe this weekend, just make sure it's working. Okay, give it a once over. Brass players, if you know how to give your instrument a bath, maybe give your instrument a bath. If you don't know how to do that, warm water, no soap, bathtub, take out all your valves, or if it's a trombone, just put it in the water, and let it soak for a little bit. Get yourself an old t-shirt, run it through the inside, wipe off the outside, re-oil everything, and you're good to go. If you're a woodwind instrument, Don't do any of those things I just said. You'll ruin your instrument. Don't do that. Thump. Oh, congratulations. You needed every single pad repadded. That'll be $400, please. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can wash mouthpiece. That's fine. But don't just thump your instrument into the tub if you are a woodwind because bad. Huh? Yeah, orange juice is fine. Absolutely. I am lying. Percussionists, obviously, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Just make sure you have sticks, mallets, and I suggest getting a stick bag just because it's easy, but I mean, whatever. Yeah.
That sounds like a Monopoly chance card.
Okay, shall we take a tour? Okay, I will lead the way and I'll take our virtual friends with us with the camera. And I want you to mother duck behind me as my little ducklings at a 6-foot distance, and I will show you where the instrument storage room is. If you don't need to come with me, if you don't need to be mother ducked with me, then don't. Just stay here. If you want to come just for the memes and the lulz, then, well, let's go. Okay. All right, virtual friends, we're going together. Here we go. Look at us. We are following the one-way path. Okay, just imagine right now that you are your student trying to come with us to go get your instrument. You come out this door, you turn left into the whoa bright hallway, white balance. Oh my gosh. Okay, you turn, and here we are into the newly cleaned band room. Look how clean it is. This is the band room.
What's with all the desks?
Because I have to teach theory in here, and choir is using the desks too. Okay, stop here. This is the instrument storage room. Only 2 students at a time. It's not very clean right now, but it will be clean later today after I clean it. This is where you keep your instruments. Then when you're done, you come back out. Now, you don't have to come out this door. You can just turn around and go out that door, but because I've got all these kids, say hi to the virtual friends. I'm going to go out this door, okay? You can poke your head in the instrument storage room if you need to. Otherwise, I'm going to go out this door and we're going to go wrap back around. Here we go. This is the best field trip ever. Okay. Now, you wouldn't actually ever come this way to get your instrument. You don't need to take the grand tour around this loop, but I'm just doing it now mostly for the fun of it. I'm going to turn the video off for now. Hi, virtual friends. I'm back just to talk about some simple things for you real quick. Since we're going to start playing in class, I would suggest that you get your instrument out and you start playing along with what you hear in the recordings in band class next week. Soon I'm going to actually have all this stuff set up for a live stream. I'm trying to build a computer right now that's going to do all that. It's a long story. You don't really care. But feel free to play along with the recordings in class. And once we're live streaming, I'll have you play along with what you hear in the live stream and just turn your mic off. If you have any questions about what we cover in the recording right now, send me an email and say, hey, I'm having problems with this measure or whatever, and I'll try to help you with it that way. So next week, be prepared to play at home as you watch these recordings. The recordings, because of that, are going to be longer because I'm going to record that entire 30-minute block straight through that we're playing for you to have the opportunity to play along with the recording and feel like you're still a part of the ensemble, because you are still a part of the ensemble. As we move forward, I'll talk more about how we can start recording things and sending me recordings of yourself. We'll get all that stuff figured out. But for right now, get your instrument ready for next week. Make sure you're ready to play, and make sure you play along with the recordings. If you haven't already, you should have submitted a Schoology rhythm chunk to me this week and done the assignment, the little suggest a piece assignment. Get that done, and then you're good for your points for the week. I hope you friends have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.